All right, so we've got the recording started. I just started a poll. We are wondering if, in addition to this, like all team meeting, you guys would like another meeting, like maybe every other week or monthly of just like your small team and your team leader. So like meet with Michael or Emily or Joe, and then your people in that team. So go ahead and answer the poll with your thoughts on that. We're just trying to see what you guys think the value of that is. Just as like another space to, bring up any issues or thoughts on improvements or things like that, where it's just not quite so many of us all at once. So go ahead and answer the poll with your thoughts on that. We'll go through there. Don't see any of them in this meeting, but I'm pretty sure I did add them to. I'm going to have to double check the invitation for this meeting because clearly I don't have everybody on it correctly. Sorry. But we have 3 new hires. We have Dalton Sell, Barry Obenchain, and Michael Hicks, who all started in the past few weeks. Their primary duties have to do with sports, but they'll be helping as well with Nation World Pages incoming board. Yeah, Michael?
Do you want me to invite Dalton? He just messaged me. Do you want me to get
yes,
in?
please. So I'm excited to have them on board. We are working on figuring out what we can do with sports to improve some of our sports coverage. Michael Hicks put together a nice survey to send out to the sports editors to kind of talk through what their priorities are, what they want to see more of, what they want to see less of, things like that, so that we can be, kind of focusing our efforts. And, if something's not important, we don't need to take the time to be putting it online for all the properties, things like that. So we're going to be working through that. Harry Haverson left last week, so we are going to be working on making sure we have Nation World coverage. While we kind of cover in the meantime, you guys probably saw the email. We need people to work Saturdays and Fridays, later shifts for a while. Friday, I think, can just be like a 4-hour later shift, probably, to help with like those late sports and things like that. It doesn't need to be a whole shift. We just don't have enough people right at the end of the night to get all the late sports pages done now that all the like high school football and whatnot has started. So if you are available to do that for any dates, please let me know. I'd like us to have that figured out for extra people through the end of October. We do have a job posting up for what was Carrie's position. So we're taking applicants for that, and then we will work through that once a hire is made. Then we'll decide exactly what duties they'll have each day. Carrie did lean a little bit more towards doing some of the, like Nation World Pages and things like that, and whether the new person does or not, it's just going to depend on the skill set of the best person for the job. So we will figure that out in detail once we have that person in the role. For those of you just joining us, there is a poll. Please vote on whether or not you think it would be of value to have a small group meeting with your team and your team leader. So like Michael, Emily, or Joe, just as like another place to talk through things and ask questions where it's a smaller group. Roxen, we've had a bunch of meetings lately. They are working on deadline setup. We've made good progress on figuring out a Google integration so we can stop copying and pasting. So I'm hoping to have more of that done soon. And they're working on essentially a way to turn off the auto layout. So like when you download a page and then you rearrange it for a photo page or a cover or whatever, you can tell it like, okay, when I update this page because I need to change a word in the story, don't make my layout blow up. So you can essentially like turn off that computing so that we'd actually be able to update things without opening the InDesign page. So I think that will be very nice and probably save us a lot of time once we have that option. And then they're working on some other stuff. I know Monday night we had a bunch of problems. My my apologies, my thanks, and my admiration to all of you who worked Monday night and worked through that stuff. Roxen went through their logs and found a bunch of what they call anomalies, which are essentially, what caused those issues. And so they are getting them addressed and fixed on their servers so that hopefully that doesn't happen again. If you're having issues in Roxen, templates not coming in, things being really slow, please let the manager on duty know that, because we will contact Roxen. Even if we can't get it fixed in the moment, we can at least have them look through their logs later to figure out what the problem was. So hopefully they can make sure it doesn't happen again. I sent you all the new fonts. If you were not able to get those installed, please get somebody to help you, like one of the managers or somebody. You will start seeing pages that have those fonts as the settings for headlines any day now. I've updated some of the templates, but not all of them at this point with the new headline fonts. It's the Sophia Sans extra condensed, so like that power head. That one's being changed. And then the regular headline was that newsreader font. And that newsreader font was blowing up online as well. So that's been replaced. So on the new pages, the new newsreader is called Una. And the other one is called Barlow. And Barlow has regular and condensed options. So also changed on the templates. We took the align to baseline grid off of all the text, because I know that was really, and oh my gosh, Marcy's smiling so big right now. I love to make you happy. That was the recommendation of the consultants, and we tried it, and I think it didn't really work, and it was responsible for a lot of the weird spacing that we were seeing. So that's dead now. I took off, we were going to just remove all the hyphenation to fix the problem of when you jump and then it tries to jump in the middle of a word. But it turns out there's a setting to just turn off so it doesn't jump a word in between columns. So we just have that set, because that jump is a column break. So that should fix that problem, unless it's, if it's a compound noun or something, like if somebody's a well-known actor, it could still break on the well with the known on the next page. And so please still keep an eye on it to make sure you're not having problems, but it shouldn't be an issue as frequently as it has been. Let's see. The other one is the baseline grid. The default was for the baseline grid to be in view, and I heard from several of you that was super duper annoying. So taking the baseline grid off your default view, you can always turn that back on when you're designing if you'd like to see it, but I didn't hear anybody say they really liked it, but I did hear several people say that it was bothering them. So that's off. And again, those templates you'll see like any minute, probably more with like the stuff for early next week. For, okay. You guys have probably noticed this more this week with Mary Beamish out, and that has to do with page proofing. Everybody needs to be working on page proofing. So when you have, a few minutes between pages while you're waiting for something, or, that kind of thing, please be looking if there are pages that you can proof in other publications. That is not just the job of a few people. I know there was some confusion over that, and it was entirely my fault because of how I set up that assignment sheet. I have deleted that whole proofing section that was on there, because it was just, it was causing confusion. It wasn't helpful. So please just know that we would like you all to be working on proofing. If you have questions about proofing or feel uncomfortable, let one of the managers know, and we can kind of walk you through it and talk to you about things. I have a checklist. I'll make myself a note to send out that checklist to everybody so that you all have it. Of just, every time you proof a page, make sure that you check that the folio is correct, that the date is correct, that, the page number matches the page number that it is, stuff like that. So I'll send that out, but please do be aware of proofing. And if you notice that there's a lot of pages, like for multiple publications that need to be proofed, go ahead and put in the the team room, like, hey, it looks like there's a lot of pages in need of proofing. Because I know a lot of you are not used to proofing, and so it's not necessarily going to spring to mind. So for those who are proofing, keep an eye on that. Yeah, Emma.
Is there any change possible happening with that view all publications view in Roxen? I mean, that would be so great if that worked to like check for proofing.
Yes. Yep. I have asked about that, and that's something they're working on. They didn't set up that page to be able to like actually do stuff.
It's cool to have it, but set it up. Man.
Right. Yeah. So I was like, no, it has to be that you pick. Like, I'd like everything that's in proofing, and I told them that it needs to be able to sort by deadline, so that it's not like, here's everything with tomorrow's date on it, because that doesn't work for us. That we can then see it and then proof like directly from that page. So it kind of worked like the old proofing queue. So yeah, that is something in the works. So, all right. And then I've kind of talked about this a little bit before, but now that obviously we still have things to work out, but things in Roxen are getting a little bit easier. People are kind of getting the hang of things. We are going to start making sure we're sending you messages about if design things sort of look off, or, if we have a suggestion for what would make things better, or things like that. So expect that you'll probably see some of that from the managers, especially those of you who were not page designers before this change. You probably end up, just because you haven't been doing it for as long, see a few more of those as we just try to help you learn things. Please take those in the spirit in which they're intended, which is just to ensure that we're doing the best we can with everything. And if you ever have any questions about that, about design, please let us know. Right now, I'm going to have Michael go over some stuff with photo pages, because I know Roxen drops the photo pages in a certain way, and it's easy to just allow them to be that way, but that doesn't always make it, the most visually appealing. So Michael's just going to talk about some things that you can do to help on that front. So let me take it away. Michael, you are muted. You know that, right? Okay. All right. While he's getting things up, I will tell you guys that the results of the poll is 5 of you, yes, small meeting, 4 of you, no, and 3 of you, bacon. So thank you for your input. All right, go ahead, Michael.
All right, I have a couple different things that I wanted to show you guys. If you could just give me one more quick second, I'll be ready to go.
Any questions or anything while he's working? Oh, you're good? Okay.
Yeah, I'm good for now. All right, so you can kind of see this page off to the side, right? So this is generally how Roxen will put in some of the photos for the photo pages. We understand that not everybody on the team has the same level of InDesign knowledge, InDesign experience. So we do provide one that will generally place, up to 10 photos, just so that they can get all on the page. You don't have to use the Roxen EP connector, any of that stuff, right? So what we're getting at is we would like to see them improved a little bit from this point. Okay, so you can see that there's a lot of photos that are the same size, and that doesn't help necessarily. The more variation in photo sizes you can, in my opinion, the more dynamic the page. So I know a couple of you have done these. I'm sorry that I don't know the designers to give you guys shout outs, but here are some of the ones that I picked just recently for the last month or so that we have messed with, right? So here's a good one. I can, kind of scroll the whole page if you want, but I thought this one was good. It has multiple variations of photos. They are all relatively the same, but since there's so many photos, even just this small variation, the text box, it does add a little bit more. It looks like there is a little bit of white space on the side too, given the space on the ad. So that stuff helps a little bit. helps the page breathe a little bit. Just an example of how you can switch it up from what's provided in the Roxen document. All right, same thing. We have, one deck headline, a little bit more punchy than the two deck that was on kind of the no example from the basic template. Again, we have big photo art, but also secondary photo and a couple that are the same size. Just these small couple variations really change the way the page looks. Really like the difference in fonts here, and then how the drop cap matches. Just stuff to check out. I know some don't come with a copy block, but as much as it seems like a pain, you can use that to your advantage to help fill awkward spaces based on, if you only get horizontal photos or you get a horizontal and, one vertical, to try to adjust that a little bit better. So, yep, a couple of Jamestown ones too here. You can see again that we have main art, secondary art, and then a couple that are the same size to kind of fill out the space. You're not expected to, make it always so over the top like a couple of our designers are able to do. We're just looking for different size variations and to not stick with kind of exactly the way the template comes in. So there are a couple different ways to do that. Again, this has a lot more text in it than the other one as far as headlines go, but there's no copy block. So I think I got one more. Yep. So this same thing, this one's working around ads. So obviously we all understand that when there's an ad, you might need a filler in there to help you fill your space, but there's only so much that you can do with the space that you're provided, given how many photos they want to use. So just another example, multiple sizes of photo to help break it up a little bit. Even though it's in what you could consider a grid, it's not, 1:1 all the way down on the side of the page. So just a couple of things to keep in mind, that even though you might not have all different shapes or all different sizes, we can adjust some of this stuff in InDesign to kind of give it a little bit more punch. So if there's any questions, feel free to let me know. I'm always down to talk design with anybody. So.
Any questions on that right away? Okay. Do remember that, if the headline you're given really doesn't work for a photo page, like in that first example was just like the big long headline that was two decks, yeah, that's better as a subhead. Just ask the editor if you can't come up with something, for what the big headline should be. Anybody have anything else? Questions, suggestions, issues? Yeah, Emily.
Should we still not be using the 5-column opinion templates, or can we start using those, or?
We can start using those, correct, Michael? They're good to go?
Yeah, they're good. We just never really decided what sites are getting them or if all sites are getting them. So now's your chance to tell people what you want to do. So yeah, I mean, they're ready. They're ready for the forum. We're having some internal conversations about if everybody should get them, or if not, how do we make that distinction? So I can talk with Alicia after this, and we'll send out perhaps an email by the end of the day saying what's up with those. But yeah, you're right. We kind of need to figure that out. So, but they're ready. So once we decide where they're going, they'll be ready to go.
Anything else? Okay, well, you all know. Oh, yeah, Paula, go ahead.
If we do go to the 5-column, is there a way that the page can be uploaded to show 5 columns so that we know which ones are supposed to be out of all these papers? Because right now I think they all show 6 no matter what.
Yep. Yeah, I think we can change on the template to have the opinion page to show the 5-column grid without changing all the other pages. I will look. I don't know that there's a way that we can. Oh no, because the column grids do show up when you open it in the page composer. So yeah, that would work then. Okay, sorry. I was just thinking in the kind of dummy view that you don't see the columns. So, okay. All
I
right.
was just thinking it would be a lot easier for us to know which papers have that if it shows on there rather than just guesswork of like, did this one get a 5 or is it not, you know?
We can also, once we figure it out, we can say which publications we want certain templates to show up at. Like right now, we have some that are just for like the South group, where if you're working on a paper that's in the North group, they don't show up. So that would be a way also for us to show where those templates go and don't go. And we'll obviously at some point edit the name so it doesn't say Fargo only. But we can also look into the grid for sure.
All right. Anybody else? All right. Well, we will go ahead and call it then. Thank you all. Again, you know where to find us if you have any questions, issues, stuff like that. We're around. And thank you to all of you who tuned on your cameras today. It was nice to be able to see so many of you. Thank you. Bye.